Hello and welcome to my Project Life flip through video for my 2023 Project Life album. I have been keeping my albums in these We Are Memory Keepers pleather albums for a number of years now. I really like them because they're smooth and soft and they do not collect cat hair, which is the very best thing. I've been using these oversized numbers for labeling my Project Life albums for maybe 3 or 4 years now, ever since they first came out from Paper Person, and I really love them. And I decided to go with blue this year because she put out a blue set last year, I think, and I had them on hand. We'll open up and I will start. Let me just see if I can position this in a way that you can see it all, and I hope that you can hear me as well. So I do use these D-ring binders, and typically if I'm doing week by week, my project lives usually span 2 albums, but this year was not a typical year. This year I had this new idea, and I'll tell you because I actually document it right here. I don't have a process video for this page, so I'm going to talk about this page, and I'm actually going to read you this page because this is my cover page for the project. And usually I do this at the very end, and so I have some perspective. It's not blind. There were a couple of years when I did this ahead of time, and then the year didn't go as planned, and then really the cover page isn't so much of a reflection of the year. It's more of goals or whatever, which is fine. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but I do like the idea of my cover page giving you a bit of a sense of what's to come. So I am happy that I did this. I use the Unexpected Stories kit. Is that what this was called? I forget what these kits were called. These are the Ali Edwards kits. I think they're called Stories kits. And they have like pocket scrapbooking supplies like 4x6 and 3x4 cards, as well as embellishments and stickers and letters and that sort of thing. And they're always oriented towards a theme. I haven't really followed what Ali Edwards is putting out these days, but she's probably still doing this. I used to subscribe and I have a whole bunch of these kits, and I just store them in these little sandwich bags. They're actually snack bags with the zipper cut off so that I can just use it kind of as a file folder almost to just keep everything together. And I noticed that one of them was called Unexpected. And so I chose items from this. Everything that you see here came from this little pocket. And then I also have lots left over, as you can see, for any other unexpected stories that I might want to document. So things went very strange for us this year in a way that, I mean, I know that 2020 is famous for being unexpected and having, very, very unusual things in it. But for us, 2023 was almost as unusual, maybe even more unusual in some ways, because for 2020, it was like this one big thing, the pandemic, and then all of the things that happened afterwards. Whereas for us, 2023 included a number of really sharp turns in our life and really profoundly impactful surprising things that happened to us. So I do have this piece of vellum here. That was also from an Ali Edwards thing at some point, and I just left it in its packaging. I was a little bit afraid that the vellum would rip, and so I just left it in its packaging here, and I think it still looks just as nice as it would. Maybe not quite as nice. It's a little bit more reflective, as you can see, but I don't have to worry so much about it ripping and being flipped through a lot. So this is from Ali Edwards. I just stuck it in. And then again, all of these cards are from Ali Edwards as well, and even all the little insert things. So we start with this card here that says, totally not what I thought was going to happen. And so this is my intro to the whole album with these cards. So we have, you never know what a year will bring, but 2023 was full of more surprises than any other year. From wildfires that made us flee our home and be displaced for a week, to floods, to starting a scrapbooking kit club, to an unexpected trip to New York City, a violent dog attack, finally getting COVID-19 after 3 years, ensuing lung damage, live moving out. Wow, talk about change. Some of it was good, some of it was bad, but it's all been a lot. And that has been our year. Then this one, I really love this design. It's It's the unexpected that changes our lives. I really love the splatter, and it was all, that card just is what it is, and I just slipped it in. It was really great. This one says, shocker. Here are the details of this story. And I just wrote, our world is changing faster than what feels comfortable. In 2023, we saw dramatic impact of climate change through forest fires that were unprecedented and the economy crashing down around us. We just have to hang on and adapt. And then this wonderful exclamation point, well, that was unexpected. And I have some of these exclamation points. I love them. And now I know which kit they came from. I've had them in my stash for a while, and I am just looking for the perfect opportunity to use these. They're just gorgeous. And I'm going to use them on a page, hopefully in 2024, probably on a 12 by 12 page. Then I have this, just says, wow, wow, wow. And I added a little acetate heart from my stash. This is also from Ali Edwards, I'm pretty sure. Then this one says, what I thought was going to happen and then what actually happened. And this is more about the documentation of project life. So it says, my project life was going to cover 1 week per month in detail for a total of 12 spreads. What actually happened is I did that for a few months, and then so much was happening, I ended up doing 2 spreads per month for most months. Then this one says, attempting to make sense of the unexpected. I just wanted to kind of give a little bit more information about our climate stuff that's been happening in our part of the world. We live very close to the ocean, and so we're surrounded by ocean. We are going to see the impact of climate change probably before others, and we are seeing it. So it just says we've never had to worry about forest fires before because we usually used to get enough runoff in the spring that our summer doesn't get dry until very late summer/autumn. But all these mild winters mean no runoff, which means dry, dangerous spring, summer. So just a little explanation there. And then some of the other things that happen, I explain as it happens in the project. So I didn't have to, I don't need to spell out everything in my title page. Then I've just got this Go with the Flow, which also came in that same unexpected kit from Ali Edwards. And then we are ready to get started. So I really love using all these items from one kit because the color scheme looks really great together and everything just kind of coordinates. It's a bit of a no-brainer. It took me maybe 10 minutes to do this page, which is why there isn't a process video. It's basically just me journaling the whole time. That's all I did, and stapled that onto there. This isn't even connected. I just stuck it in. So this piece, for example. So here is the first spread, and I do know that my lights are going to create some glare, so I'll take them out and show you each page as I go through. So this was back when I first started doing it. My plan was that I randomly selected weeks in my planner and said, this is the week I'll document. And so week 3, which ran from January 16th to 22nd, was the week that I pre-selected as one that I would document. So I just wrote down everything that happened that week and documented it. So we have Sophie getting her learner's license, and I did some stamping there and added a piece of chipboard. And then we have Sophie's birthday celebration. We went to a restaurant. We have Annabelle playing Breath of the Wild. There was a last minute kerfuffle with Sophie's birth certificate. Oh, right, I remember that. I'm so glad that I documented that because I would have forgotten. Then there is a flip the pocket here with extra journaling below. There is a process video for every one of these spreads, so I don't need to go into too much detail of how I did everything or what I used. If you see a spread here that you'd like to see in more detail, just check out my channel and my playlist. I will link it in the information section below. So lots of fun things here. There's our birthday celebration for Sophie. And that was a photo of Sophie's drawer, her bedside table drawer. And then this looks like a little thing I stamped and cut out. That just has a little journal and then the journaling that goes with the journal photo. So this is the other half of the same week. So we have a flip up here. This is a tented flip up, which I just started doing at the beginning of this year. And it just has some car selfies that we were taking when we were going someplace. The journaling probably explains where. We've got the year of the rabbit, I believe it was, and so that's why this rabbit is here. I was still getting some Kelly Perky kits at the very, very beginning of the year. I think I canceled everything, but I might have still gotten 1 or 2 kits into the new year, because after you subscribe, after you cancel, sometimes it takes a little bit. Then we have the snowman that the girls made when they were off on school for a snow day. January 3 things was exams, Sophie's birthday, prep for our trip. Our Voila order, we were getting some groceries via Voila as the service that if we lived in a big city, it would deliver to your door, but for us, we live in the suburbs, so you have to go pick it up. But it has like a curbside pickup. Then I was still playing Heyday then. That's interesting. I didn't know I was still playing it then. Jen made t-shirts for our movie club, so we're all wearing the same t-shirts there. And then I love to get pictures of the girls' bedrooms. They change them up and use different blankets, and Sophie decorates her walls differently at different times. So I like my project life to have a little snapshot of things that we're doing, the little smaller everyday things that wouldn't necessarily get covered in a formal 12 by 12 page. Although I did just do a 12 by 12 page of this very memory. So then for February, we were doing week 8. And so that ran from February 19th to 25th. I just did some matting there. We were playing a board game. This is Pandemic, which is a game that for a while there we didn't want to play because we were all pandemiced out. But it's actually a really fun game. It's a cooperative game. So you play together towards a common goal. And then Noah and his promposal to Liv. It was there. The girls out in the hot tub. This is just a filler card. I wanted to document how Lila has this habit of going behind you when you're sitting in a chair. You have to be very careful if you get up and sit back down again, because she might be there. And look at her blue eyes. Isn't that beautiful? So I'll just show this up a little bit more close so that you can see some of them. And then we have, this is Rocky with my planner. And then we have Liv and I outside. This is when I first started growing my hair out. Then we have, for the rest of that week, it looks like there's no pockets, no flips. But we have a photo of my workspace when I'm narrating a process video, making it beautiful. And then we have this fun black and white photo of Sophie and Ty's sea-themed date night, and all of the things that Sophie made them for it says, and I use this, it's not really a sea, but it has a bit of a sea look to it. I love this sticker with the pencils on it. So C is for. Then we have that I'm totally obsessed. This is a card that said totally obsessed, and I just put the Zelda promotional image and stamped out 75 days because that's how many days it was until it released. We were watching The Late Show with Stephen Colbert most mornings at that point, so I just cut him out and outlined around him just to remind myself of that. Schools were closed one day. I just took a screenshot of it and printed it up and added some hearts, some acetate hearts. And then we have a photo of our backyard with all of the snow. We have Liv working on, what is that? Oh, that's her working on her mini diorama. She had days off, so she didn't go back to school. In February, she ended school because she arranged her courses that she actually she didn't graduate early. She still graduated with everybody else, but she finished her coursework. So she didn't have to go to school for a second semester of grade 12. So she worked to save up money for university. And on her days off, she did crafts and various different things. Then we have, I think it's a coffee shop. Anyhow, then we have Scott shoveling our driveway. Here we are in March. It's week 12. And we have a photo of my scrap room, and you put the letters new and an arrow to point to that because I had just put my little dish towel from Germany on the wall. This is what Annabelle's mom sent to me, and I am in love with it. It actually fell off the wall. I have to put it back up again. I just stuck it up with command tape, which isn't the greatest idea, but anyhow. Then we have Liv picking out her prom dress, me drinking a coffee outside in March. I'm determined to get outside the first day of sitting on the scrap room terrace. It was so cold that day. And then we have the girls and Scott doing some work in the garage, bundling up boxes. We've got, so we have I think that this is something that is specific and personal to my daughter. Yeah, it is. So I'm not going to show you the inside, but we have some journaling underneath of there that just talks about a breakup for my daughter. And then we have Sophie's been keeping a bullet journal. So I've got some photos of us in the craft room, and then another photo of Sophie getting ready for work. She works at a used bookstore that also fosters cats and does coffee and tea as well, serves coffee and tea. This is an insert, and it has a letter to the Easter Bunny and welcome to March, seemingly endless month. So I just did some journaling here about some of the things that happened in March. And the great thing about March is that winter is almost over, glimpses of spring, boots packed away, and then some of the bad things. The noteworthy things was a breakup, and Annabelle joined field hockey. This month was given 2.5 stars. And then this is something that Annabelle's mom sent me, just a postcard. And we have the back side, includes just a filler card talking about some of the things that we're watching, current favorites, TV shows Lost. So Annabelle and I were watching Lost together, and we still are, actually. We watch it on FaceTime now that she's back in Germany. Favorite movie was Everything Everywhere All at Once. Favorite song was Save Me by the Dave Matthews Band. I guess I was listening to that for some reason. Food or drink was caipirinhas. My favorite place was Hyrule, so I must have been playing a lot of Breath of the Wild. And scrapbooking 12 by 12 was my favorite action. Right now we're watching Survivor, Bob's Burgers, The Simpsons, Tears of the Kingdom gameplay analysis, and Stephen Colbert. So they came out with a bunch of trailers, and all of the YouTubers were analyzing what they thought would happen with the game and what the game was going to be like, because it wasn't released yet. So we have at least one flip. Looks like we have 2 flips. Yeah, we have 2 flips. That's from the next page. So we have a photo of Adam and Jen and Scott and I in our epilepsy awareness t-shirts. And then we also have a photo of my mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, and niece, all in their epilepsy awareness t-shirts. We always wear them on Purple Shirt Day. We often wear them outside of Purple Shirt Day too, but my mother-in-law does have epilepsy, and so we were always kind of involved in the Epilepsy Society, because the theater that my daughters were involved in was connected to that organization somehow, but now it's personal, and we have friends who have epilepsy as well. It's a cause that is dear to our hearts. So then I have a photo of our TV as we were playing Mario Kart, which is a common little pastime for us. Then we have the internet. This is a meme on a cat card. It says international sign for the cat puked, but I haven't had coffee yet, so I'll clean this up upon actually functioning. And then we have Nena's purple hair, that she dyed her hair purple for Purple Hair Day. And then Lush released some Mario stuff, and I bought some and did a little photo shoot with my Mario amiibos. And then I just journaled a little bit about my Hobonichi cousin, which I was still using. I was happy I used it the whole year. It was probably my most consistent year for planning was 2023. I made a card. Actually, I made several. Oh yeah, I remember making those cards. And then this is a photo of burger night. Right, so our city does Burger Week in March, I guess. Yeah, March. And it's sort of like a way to, I guess, infuse the local restaurant situation at a time when, things aren't quite geared up for summer yet. And so they have this all the different restaurants host this specialty burger that they make, and you go and pay way too much money for a burger that is a special burger that you can only get that week. And so I just documented that as well. Again, if you'd like to see how any of this came together, you can check out the process videos for it. We have April 2023. So this is where I stopped going by week. So it only lasted really 3 months of doing of choosing a specific week and scrapbooking it. By the time April came, I found that so much happened in April that I just didn't want to choose a specific week. I wanted to spread it out. And the danger of doing it this way is that you could end up with something that is too much of a superficial summary of the month, and that's not what I wanted. So I was pretty mindful as I did this that if I'm going to do monthly project life, I did not want it to be a summary. I wanted to go into the details, and that would mean that I couldn't obviously document every single detail, but just the certain ones based on what I haven't already captured another time or something that was being impactful to our life at the time. So this is April. We have a flip here, and this is a photo flip. So these are photo flips by Simple Stories by Snap. And you can get these. We actually sell these in our shop now. And it says Go Sharks with a photo of Annabelle and then some documentation about Annabelle and her field hockey journey. This is a screenshot that I took of an Instagram post that one of Annabelle's friends put up. So when you're scrapbooking teenagers, you got to get the content whatever way you can. And so one of her friends follows me on Instagram, and I noticed that she posted this, and it was relevant to the stories that I was telling. So Annabelle met some professional soccer players, and I didn't have any photos, so I just grabbed that one. And I went with the circles and continued to embellish with circles all around on the card. And I really like how this one turned out. Then we had there was a hate crime in my daughter's high school, and my daughter is part of the LGBTQ community. And so it really, really affected us quite a lot. And that's something I didn't put in my page. Oh, we lost a relative, and there was a big breakup in our family. Yeah, there was a lot that actually happened that didn't even make it to the summary. But yes, this hate crime, really, they didn't just steal the rainbow flag. They took it and filmed themselves burning it in the woods beside the school. And so the police investigated it and did end up determining that it was a hate crime, and the kids got into some amount of trouble. Anyhow, and there's been a lot of healing. It's actually provided a really nice opportunity for Sophie to get really involved in activism, which I don't think she would have if it hadn't happened. So I'm not saying that it's good that it happened, but something good is coming out of it. So that's good. Then we have a scene from Blue Bloods was filmed at Café Un Deux Trois. This is our favorite restaurant in New York. It's not like the best restaurant, but it's our favorite one to go to in New York. We love their breakfasts, and we just love the decor in there and how close it usually is to the places that we stay. And we just love it. And so it was really fun to see that it was in a TV show. Then we've got, I was doing Duolingo at the time, so I was documenting that. Then we had another ad came out for Tears of the Kingdom, and it looks like we had a name for it by that point. Documented a photo of my breakfast and a post from the bookstore where Liv works, or where Sophie works. I'm getting my kids mixed up. So they got a new cat named Seamus. It's one of the cats that they had up for adoption. The shop ended up keeping one of them. Then we have an insert here that is just a smaller one that spans April, and in it we have photos from an outing. This is all from the same day. I included the bus transfers that we have we kind of parked in Halifax and took the ferry across to Dartmouth. We went to the Dalhousie bookstore while we were in Halifax because Liv had been accepted to their medical science program. Then we have Easter, and this is all about Easter. Easter at home, on the road towards our relatives, and then at our relatives' house. Some fun and games that we were playing. Then we have, what's here? Just one flip on this one. So we have just a photo of Annabelle and Scott watching hockey. And then we have Annabelle and Sophie diamond painting. And Annabelle's working on my diamond painting because she hasn't been here long enough to work on one. I offered her to start one, but she knew she wouldn't finish, so she'd rather just work on mine. We have just a filler card, and then we have this really super fun photo of Liv posing with her greasy hands because she had just learned how to change a tire. She put on the winter tires or took off the winter tires. I don't know what she did there. Liv changed the tires on my car this week. Yeah, so we must have been putting the summer tires back on, or the all-season tires back on. So then just a picture of Liv hanging out on her bed. I love to take photos of just the kids doing what they do. And you know, like sometimes there's something unusual, like Liv changed the tires on the car. But, you know, watching a hockey game, working on a craft, hanging out in your bed, narrating a process video. These are our everyday moments, and this is what I love to document in Project Life. This is something that Sophie baked. And then we opened up a Shopify shop for our Kit Club. And this was the first 2 people to check out our shop. And I think these are, I don't know if these are purchases or just people who were on the shop at the time, but it was really fun. I stalked that globe the whole day. I was looking at people and where they were. You can't see any identifying information, but you can just see where in the world people are who are in your shop. And it's really fun to look at that. It's very addictive. So then in May, we had our official opening of our shop. So our May pages will reflect at least some of that. We have one of our meals. I like to include the things that we cook because we tend to go through phases. That's my little title card. This is me taking a bunch of kits to the post office. This is our first design team. I wanted to document the entrance to Otis and Clementine, which is the bookstore where Sophie works, because she opens the store on Sundays, and there's Seamus the cat waiting for her in the window. It's really cute. Little filler card. And then this is Annabelle's birthday. These are all her friends. And then we also celebrated her birthday. Oh no, this is Mother's Day gathering at Nook and Cranny in Truro. Then we have a big thing happened. So at the very, very end of May, so this is just the rest of May. This is the insert for May. So I'll show you the rest of May first. So, so up until the end of May, things were going just hunky-dory, pretty normal. So we have this stamping on a photo here of Liv's bed, and then we have a photo of Annabelle out with a friend and just a bunch of Annabelle. She was turning 16, so we put butter on her nose, which she wasn't familiar with. There were some fun photos here that I just wanted to include as well. And then we have a photo of Liv and Sophie got sister tattoos. So this is a photo of them at the tattoo place. And then that's the photo of them showing their tattoos. And then I did this for my Tears of the Kingdom. So all of the whole countdown towards Tears of the Kingdom, it released May 12th. So I put the date here. And then I have these, which are all pull-out cards. So, and I used my game controller stamp and a tab punch, and I just put the date, and this is a screenshot of my Switch downloading the game right there. So I had already downloaded it, but I had played Breath of the Wild since then, so it wasn't first. But then I did some journaling on the back. And then this is a photo of the collector's edition of the game, and then a story of how I came to get the collector's edition. It was through the kindness of my brother-in-law's sister that I was able to get that. I did some stamping around it. And then this is the reviews of the game. They were all 10 out of 10 except for 2. Everybody loved the game when it first came out, and I was definitely binging it. And then this is just what I wrote about that. This is a notification from Shopify of our very first order ever coming through. So that was fun. I just grabbed a picture of my watch because I was so excited about it. And here we are working hard. I put our seal there, our stickers that we seal our boxes with. And then we have this triple flip. And if you want to see how I made this, it's on the process video for my March pages. Then we have some outdoor photos that, it's March, so we're going outside whenever we can tolerate, whenever it's warm enough. And then a photo from the Off Track Brewery, which is where we go a lot with my in-laws. So that would have been all fine, except that then there was a horrible wildfire that you might have heard of. Because it was unprecedented. Like, our area actually doesn't get fires. Well, I mean, now we do, but up until now we didn't get fires. And so, like, our firefighters didn't even know how to fight a forest fire. They're only trained in how to put out house fires, because we literally don't get forest fires. But there were multiple forest fires in our province, and one of them was in the neighborhood right across from ours, and our whole area was evacuated. So I just documented it with some of my bad day stamps. I did do a screenshot of the emergency alert and cut it out separate, and then glued it onto this photo of us packing up the car. We had to take both cars because there were 5 people and 4 cats. And just kind of like the story of how we didn't really know how serious it was until we were already on the road. Thank goodness we left when we did. Some people had to leave like this. We did not have to leave like this. We didn't have flames chasing us. We left in relatively calm time, but not too far away. This was happening, so we were really, really lucky. And so, yeah, so that is how I documented that. It really did escalate quickly, because when we first heard of it, we assumed that it was just a house fire. Not just a house fire, but we assumed it was a house fire. And this just flops around a little bit too much, so I put a little clip there to keep it from flopping quite as much. There's information about the, how Q104 put information on. This was the radar shot, and yeah. So that's that. And then you flip the page and you'll see early June was when we were still, for this part, we were still evacuated, and then we were home. And then this is about kind of like wrapping up June, because we had a graduation. We were saying goodbye to our international student. There's a lot happening in June. And so we documented. Let me bring this up. I know that this one is going to be long, but it's, you know what? I'm having fun. So it's going to be long. So I was able to use my languishing stamp, which I didn't think I'd ever use, but then we have it just like a infographic and some journaling to go along with it. Then we have some information about the place we were staying. We were staying at a motel, and they were doing some work while we were there, and evacuation shoes. So I left with my Bluntstones, which was a silly thing to do in the heat of the summer. Well, normally June 2nd is not the heat of the summer for us. So anyhow, we didn't really realize that we would be evacuated for more than just a couple of hours. So we didn't have the right things. So I had to buy new sneakers. I just bought cheap ones at Winners, and it was Liv's birthday on June 2nd, and so we started to celebrate her birthday, and then luckily we were midway through her sad little birthday party when our phones all went off with another emergency alert, this time telling us that we could go home. So we had been there for a week. We had been in Truro for a week. And I do like using tabs on my flips so that it just draws your attention to the fact that there's a flip there, especially these plastic ones, because these plastic ones tend to lie flat. So then we have some documentation in this insert. There are 2 different things. And when I have inserts, I usually like them to have a theme to them. Either the whole thing will be one memory, or one side will be one story and the other side will be another story. And that's what I did here. So we've all been there except Annabelle, who actually hadn't been to Peggy's Cove. So this was Annabelle's last day. She had not been to Peggy's Cove. I was actually sick that day, but we decided to drive her to Peggy's Cove before we took her to the airport. So that's what we did. And then this next one is just a memorial to Brian, who passed away. He was our dear, dear uncle and travel companion and all that. That was a very, very sad thing to document. And then we're on to the rest of early June. So again, this is where I think that this is the first page where a month is taken up with 2 full spreads. So we're halfway through the year before that started happening. So we have another flippity flap with stories and images inside. Get a load of those cakes. Those look like drinks from Starbucks. They're cakes. And they were delicious. And those cups were hand molded by Jen. She's amazing. Just took a picture of the yard. It's really overgrown there, but that's what our yard looks like. We're not good gardeners. So with the sign for Liv's graduation, back to life. This is just a photo of me heading back to work for the first time after the evacuation. That's me in my office, and I just put back to life on the laptop. I thought that was a fun way to do it. Are there any flips here? Yeah, there's that one, and there's this one. Yeah. So another photo of movie club, Noah over in the backyard. And then we have a little party that we went to that was really fun, so I wanted to document that. And then, of course, we have prom. Now we have July and late June is all kind of smushed together here on this page with an insert as well. So we have Annabelle with her Canada flag that was signed by all of her friends. I love putting titles or journaling around the edges of plates or following the shape in a photo, especially a dominant shape like that. Liv had like the funniest, what is that called, yearbook quote that I've ever seen. I can't believe she did that as her quote. It's so funny. And then a UPS drop-off at the pizza place and more packing orders. Really fun and exciting for us. And then there was a big thing that happened when we were trying to bring Annabelle to the airport. She almost had to stay an extra day, and it was dramatic and upsetting, but we got through it. Then we have a little insert here about grad. So again, my inserts tend to be themed. So this one is all about grad on both sides. We have some car selfies that we do a lot of, Liv's face. And we have a lot of photos of us in front of the Forum, because the Forum is a historical building in Halifax where a lot of events happen, hockey games, cat shows, concerts, and lots of things like that. So we have Liv's graduation took place at the Forum. And there's Scott taking some photos inside of the Forum. And then there we are in the stands and at a restaurant afterwards. And then that's the whole group of us at the restaurant. Then this is also July and late June. We have a flip here. Oh, right. That was when we had the flood. So yes, our driveway washed away. We were so lucky we did not get any flooding inside of our house, but our neighbor across the street, Scott, spent a whole night trying to help him because he was out of town, and they had to kind of like break into the house to make sure that there wasn't more damage done than what was actually done. But my workplace was really flooded, and it really impacted my psychological practice quite a lot for a couple of weeks, actually, and longer than that, actually. So we were grateful that we didn't have more damage. It was really difficult because the whole community was still in the throes of the aftermath of the fire. And so a lot of houses were being rebuilt. There were 151 houses that were destroyed in the fire. And so there weren't a lot of resources for people to rebuild their basements and stuff. And like a lot of the insurance companies were just giving people money because they couldn't hire contractors. There were literally no contractors available. And it's still like those houses that are being rebuilt, they're just going up now. Like this week, I noticed some houses, the framing is starting to go up. So this is January and the fire took place in June, and a couple of houses are just starting to be built. So we have a paper bag with my stamp on it. This is just some ephemera, actually, of what the lady who made my stamp sent me, and I just kept it because I wanted like a little reminder of our stamp. Then that's Annabelle's goodbye, and Sophie made these water bottles, and a third one as well, but we only have a picture of the two, for their upcoming trip to Disney with their aunt. And then there's just a little note from the woman who made me the stamp. She was so sweet. I wanted to document it. And then my best friend became a grandma, and that's Liv holding an adorable little kitten at the bookstore where they foster cats. And that kitten would end up coming home with us. We didn't know that when we took this photo or when I documented this photo, but she would end up becoming our karma. So on the flip side, we had a trip in early August to Barrie to visit my sister, and it was a trip that was filled with lots of ups and downs. Of course, so wonderful to see a new place. We'd never been to Barrie before. We love Canada, and we love seeing new places of Canada. We loved seeing my sister's home, which had been destroyed in a hurricane, and they had been out of their home for, I think, 2 years, and it had to be rebuilt. So there's been a lot of devastation in our family, but so it was so amazing to see them and see their house and travel around Barrie and just kind of connect with them, because it's hard when your sister lives in a different province. And we don't often get a chance to travel all that much. But bad things happened on that trip. Well, one bad thing, I was attacked by a dog, and like quite violently, like really quite violently. I was very lucky, just superficial wounds that, you know, I had to take really strong antibiotics because even a superficial dog wound can be really devastating to your system. But at the same time, the girls were going to Disney with Jen. And so this is kind of like the flip side. We've got our trip here, and then we've got, I didn't put a whole lot of photos because I wasn't there, but just I wanted to make sure that I marked the fact that the girls were in Disney at the same time that we were in Barrie, having as good a time as we could have. I was in a lot of pain, but I powered on. Then we've got a little funny story about a bit of a mix-up about hearing the wrong thing and expecting one thing, but it turned out even better than I thought. So that was a fun thing. There were little baby bunnies in her yard that we had to rescue them because the dogs were running all over the place, and we didn't want the dogs to eat the bunnies. So we did a little bunny rescue thing, playing basketball with the kids and just hanging out at the pool. They have a beautiful pool. They live in a beautiful neighborhood. And so it was like being in a resort. They were like making us drinks, and it was really wonderful. It was a lot of fun things. This was fun. You should check out the process video if you want to see how I made this. But this was super, super fun. I'll just show you the close-up of it. And then there's that. And then a photo inside, and then some journaling, and another photo as well. And I just stamped lift the flap there. And again, I just keep this on it to protect it so it doesn't flap around and get ripped off. So when it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. That was kind of a nice, uplifting quote to put on a trip that was so mixed. You know, you hope that a trip is going to be awesome, and then when it isn't, it can be, you know, it can be tough. You spend a lot of money to travel, take time off and all that. So then we have August, and I just used a little applique here that I had in my stash. It was really kind of a cute way, and it worked with the color scheme with the browns. And then for August, I did something that I haven't done in a long time, which is number some photos, 1, 2, and 3, and then put 1, 2, 3 here for the journaling for them. So we've got 1 is this photo here, 2 is this photo here, and 3 is this photo. And then we have the journaling for it. And then we have a photo of regrowth in part of the forest that was still there. And then my fold in the cheese spoon. I did some stamping around our heads there. And then lots of flips on this one. We have Bake the World a Better Place and some journaling with some stamping. These are stamps from one of the stamp sets from our kit club anyways. I love these stamps. And a little dessert that I made from Instagram, and then another thing that somebody made, I can't remember, but the journaling probably tells. And then we did a crop, which was super fun. So I took a picture of the Zoom, and that was a lot of fun. I'm so glad that I documented it because it might have slipped my mind because it was a pretty eventful month. Then we have Sophie's Snackle Box. And I just put a smaller picture of the same thing inside with some journaling. And then there's Rocky. And I do like to use these arrows when I'm journaling so that it's clear what goes with what. So that goes there. Then we have a meme that sort of wraps up the month. Me riding into the end of August, wondering what fresh hell September will bring us. Then we have, for some wonderful news, we have me taking a picture of Liv playing with, the cat's name was Bianca Del Rio at that point, but this is the cat that we would end up adopting. This is the day that we went to adopt her. And there she is. And then Liv and Noah went camping together. First kind of adult trip that they've taken together. Then we turn the page and we have September. And we got COVID. So yeah, we got COVID, and we got COVID bad. And we somehow went the full 3 years without getting COVID, and then we got it. And when we did, oh boy, I was really, really sick. Scott and I were really, really sick. The girls were just minimally sick. But here's a picture of Karma coming home, and that's my best friend and her husband. And then there's our COVID tests. Had to document that after all this time of documenting how the rest of the world got COVID and was dealing with COVID. Then we have this is such a nice card. I can't believe this is Noah's mom. She made us this card. It's a homemade card with a photo of a house. And then she cut out all of these cats, found them and cut them all out. And these are all of our cats. They're just like our cats. And then a little Karma. She's the only tabby. We've got all Siamese and then a little tabby. She's so cute. But I love that card. It's so creative and thoughtful. So this is a documentation of our trip to the apple orchard. Again, an insert is a good opportunity for me to do a theme. We have photos mostly. I think that I scrapbooked this pretty quickly. It's just mostly photos and stickers. I was using my Small But Mighty kit from MercyTiara Kits. And some stamps from my stash as well. Then we have, also part of September, Mystic Pizza and Cocktail. So these were the movies that we watched for movie club. Sometimes we'll watch like art house films, we'll say, and other times we just watch movies, just fun movies. So we none of us had watched Mystic Pizza for some reason. We didn't pick it because it was we weren't expecting it to be the most awesome movie ever, but we all kind of felt like, why haven't we seen this movie? It seems like everybody has seen it. It was Julia Roberts, one of her first films, and I really love Vincent D'Onofrio, and he's in it too. So we just decided to watch that, and also Cocktail with Tom Cruise. So, and Scott mixed cocktails during it, and Adam brought his entire cocktail collection, which included books and CDs and DVDs and tapes and albums and everything. Then we have the obsession with Karma begins with lots and lots and lots of photos and documentation about Karma and all of the things that she does. And I thought that this was a appropriate meme of all of the dominoes falling and hitting Nova Scotia here, because we were having a hurricane season that was supposed to be bad, but it actually wasn't so bad. Thank goodness, we needed some relief. And then we've got new business cards for a new clinician. Then we have, I got some new lights, and to document the difference between the new lights and the old lights, I have these photos. So the new lights take up considerably less space. They're less hot, and they just are better in a lot of different ways. We had Hurricane Lee here, which wasn't as bad as Fiona, but still notable. And then we have Happy Fall. This is October, so we're almost done. October, just a little title card, then just a photo. I like my photos to tell the story. I don't always do any kind of documenting on my photos. Sometimes I just keep a photo and that's it. Then I don't even know why I put this meme here. I just saw it and liked it, and I like that movie, so I just put that in there. Sophie was making hot chocolate for her bus driver. We've got lots of documenting using the Small But Mighty kit. So these letters on this Duolingo. So it was Sophie's her 1 year anniversary of using Duolingo. So we documented that. And we've got Give Thanks with this flippity flap for Thanksgiving. And then we have Sophie in her room, and she's changed some of this already. So it's really nice to have this. It's fall, y'all, and she's reading a book there. So this is more of October. And I think October fit in one. No. So this is early October. We have just documenting an event. I just had some friends over for a crop, and I just did photo, and documented around it. Another photo that's just all that it is the photo. I added some sequins, but that's it. How goes the nose? This is really the last check-in about the nose. There's just 2 small keloidal scars. It's really come a long way. I only use bio oil and massage. That's all I did. And it went from quite a dramatic scar to I can see it, but most people can't see it anymore. So that's nice. I just wanted to kind of wrap that up as kind of like my last check-in about that. And then Scott made some pie. So there's apple picking a page before this. And then, so we've got some pies happening after that with our leftover apples. Then this is a new game that we got that I wanted to document. And just as far as using ephemera in your project life, we've got this is one of the papers that you get that's part of the game, and it didn't quite fit on here, so I just kind of cut it up a little bit so that it fit. It's a really nice way to document a game that has pages like this, because you just throw these away otherwise, but it's a really nice way to document the game. I've got a picture of all of us, then there's a picture of just Liv and Scott, but this has more of the game set up. You can see how the game is set up. And then I've been using this currently stamp. I really love it. This might be the first time it's shown up, but I've used it a couple more times since then, where you get to put some things or do some journaling, and then you can put another stamp inside of this little box or a little photo or something. And for me, I just used a stamp. This is from, I don't know where it's from, actually. It might be from Ellie's studio, but I really like that. And then Annabelle and I we FaceTime and watch Lost together. So I took a screen cap. If you do a lot of video meetings or connecting with family or friends via FaceTime, it's always nice to do a screenshot and when you're doing that so that you can document it. And something like this, like a story that you don't really want to emphasize, I didn't want these ugly close-up pictures of my nose. They're not flattering at all, but I did want to include them, but I just didn't want them to be big pictures of my nose there. So doing a flip like this is a really nice way to handle something like that. And also I didn't need it to be I didn't need a huge spotlight on it, because it's really just okay, it's looking good now. We're done. We're done talking about it. Then we have a few other things that we documented here. This is late October, and we've got Sophie and I did a game day together where we brought an extra TV into the living room and we both played 2 Point Campus together, which is a game. It's sort of like a simulation, but you have to manage a university campus and build classrooms and run classes and staff teachers and have students live and be healthy and happy and stuff. And if they're not, then they won't pay their tuition. And it's kind of like a it's a management game and we love it. So, and it also has a bit of a design element too, because you can like decorate your campus and set it up really nice. So we spent a day doing that when the other two were out working. Then there's a picture of Karma there that I just did. I did that I was playing around with Canva, I think. And then this is the Gather kit and a picture of Scott and I don't think that's just a filler card. So there's not a whole lot to say about this, nothing too earth-shattering. Next, we have more of late October. So this is just a photo and I just documented across the top here. And then this is a photo flip, and you know, when you see something that you just love, but it's not really relevant. So we had watched The Shining, and afterwards I noticed that my feed had these Muppet photos of the Muppets posed in different positions, like classic scenes from The Shining. And so I thought instead of documenting we watched The Shining, I thought that this was a fun and interesting and maybe creative way to document that we watched The Shining and put these photos in instead of regular photos from the movie. And I also did a different technique with outlining here, where I basically did a drop shadow on my fonts instead of outlining them the way that I usually do. I thought that that had a bit of a creepier look to it to fit with the movie. Print up your memes from any of the things that you're a fan of, whether it's TV shows or movies or pop culture stuff. It's always good to include those in your project lives. It's a good snapshot of what your life is all about. And then just a quick shot of Sophie in the warehouse. Sophie's Halloween costume was Scott, and then I was about to go to New York, so I saw this on my Instagram feed and took a screenshot of it so that I could just throw it into my project life. I have this favorite candy, and you know, keeping the candy wrappers can be a good way to remember the candy if you forget the name of it, which I do forget the name of this and have trouble reordering it, but also just to kind of remind yourself. And then this is Liv's new house. Oh, she just has a room in this house, but this is the house. So it seems like she bought a house, but she didn't. Not in this economy. Then we have November. And November and December were pretty quickly documented, so I probably don't have a whole lot to say about them. I did include some stenciling here, but this was just from a sample that I had done for a video, and I just used it here. It's good to use your leftovers in Project Life. This was also a sample that I had done to demonstrate some stenciling techniques. And this is using the 6x8 paper pad from Peppermint Kisses from Vicki Boutin. It was one of the add-ons for the Joy kit for November. So it's mostly just photos on this page and a couple of word stickers added to it, or letter stickers. No flips on this side. And then we have an insert from my trip to New York, and the whole insert is from the trip. So, and I used a lot of flips so that I could cover a lot of ground in a small amount of space. I didn't want to do a travel Project Life entry for this, like a full bunch of spreads, because it was a quick trip and it was mostly educational. So we did plenty of things, but I just wanted to kind of document it quickly. So I use lots of photos just mounted on white as my theme to make everything kind of pulled together, because these photos are very different from one another. There's no kind of common theme or color scheme or anything like that. So just mounting them all on white just pulls them together and makes it look more cohesive. We ate a lot of really good food and we did a lot of things. I did a lot on my own because the other two went to a lot of shows. They went to 3 shows each. And I just bummed around. It was fun. I got a pair of Crocs, so I wanted to make sure I got a picture of that. Walking around New York City in Crocs was really, really comfortable. I am bringing Crocs with me every time I travel because I had no idea how much of a difference they would make. These are the pages that I just made, so there is a process video for them. But basically, we've got lots of flips, Lots of photos, and what I did with this spread is obviously it looks really pulled together because it's all holiday colors and it's all from that 6x8 paper pad that was an add-on to the kit, but also it's a nice opportunity to do things like use some of these larger die cuts that I might not have ever used on a 12x12 page. It's really nice to get some of these pretty things into your page. I think I did that in a couple of different places. Yeah, I used this one too, which I wouldn't have otherwise used, right? So the other thing that I did with some of these pages, 2 of these, is when I attached some string to the tags on the insides of these flips, I left the string long so that you could see it sticking out here and almost use it as a way of opening up the tag, or I mean the flip pocket. I also used lots of labels that I designed myself. They're prototypes for something that I'm working on. So I like to work with things before I decide if we're going to put it in a kit or something, so that if there's problems with it, we can work it out before selling it to somebody or giving it to the public. So then there's this. So I used a leftover doily and lots of die cuts and stickers. I literally just did this, so it's hard to point out anything interesting or new about it. But we had a at-home Christmas because I got very, very sick and with a cold and had to stay home because I didn't want to spread my germs, but also I literally couldn't go anywhere. I could barely leave my bed. So a screenshot of my watch is another fun thing that you can do. If you don't know how to do that, if you have an Apple Watch, you just those 2 buttons, you just press both of them at the same time. So if I want to take a picture of this, he's got the typewriter there, I just do that, and now that will automatically go to my photo album and like my photos place where all your photos go, and then I can document it. So I thought that this was a really nice Christmassy scene, so I wanted to document it, so I did that. And anything else noteworthy here? So here's another place where I use the white matting as a way to pull photos together. These are repetitive photos, but I did want to include them all. This is one of the few times, Christmas morning when you're opening presents, there's a lot of photos that are kind of the same. Everybody's wearing the same and sitting in the same place, and the photos are all taken from the same angle. I was sick, so I couldn't really move around a lot to take photos. And so this is a nice way to kind of play up the fact that these photos look like they're in a series, like they all match each other. And then the flip side was super quick. I just slapped some embellishments together. There's nothing really of note in this, but if you're interested in seeing it, all 4 of these December pages are all documented in the same Project Life process video. So it starts with this one and then goes to this double page and then that last page as well. So that's my Project Life for 2023. I hope that you enjoyed this little leisurely flip through. I know that it's long, but it's fun to just kind of look through it. It saves you from watching the process videos. If there's anything that you're interested in seeing how it came together, like this one, for example, May, all of my Project Life videos are labeled saying pocket process, and then the name of the month. So you can find these pretty easily, the month or the week. Keep an eye on my channel because I will be doing Project Life for 2024. I thought about changing up the products that I'm using or how I'm doing it, but I've ultimately decided to keep on doing it the same way for another year, and maybe I'll change it up next year. I'd love to hear if you do pocket pages. Are you doing the same thing this year that you did last year, or are you trying something new? Let me know in the comments below. Take care and have a really great scrappy week.